If you've been here before, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name's Roxanne and I'm so glad you could join me. So I've decided to go ahead and start a new series on my channel where I talk to you about some of my favorite products and some of my not so favorite products of brands that I use, that I enjoy. I really wanted to focus on informational content so you guys can kind of go out and decide if you're searching for a new product or you kind of want to try a brand out. If you guys have an idea about what brand you guys want me to focus on, about a favorite or not favorite, go ahead and leave me a comment down below and I will make sure to get to that video if I have enough products for that brand. So leave me a comment down below letting me know if there's a brand you guys want me to tell you guys are my favorites or my not so favorites or my least favorites, and I will see if I have enough to do so. Anyway, enough babble, let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to start with Anastasia Beverly Hills for this series and then slowly work my way into other brands. So I will be talking to you guys about some of my very favorite products and then some of my not so favorite products. Without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump right on into the video. Okay, so basically what I did, you guys, was pull some of my products from my collection and decided what I loved and what I wasn't fond of. I will tell you kind of why I like the product or why I don't like the product. And then if you have any questions, you can go ahead and leave those down below and I will elaborate if there's something I didn't answer on that particular product or something else you want to know. Let's go ahead and just start first with the Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes because those oftentimes are super popular, and I will tell you guys which ones I absolutely love and which ones I'm not so fond of, which probably is no surprise. Some of my absolute favorites obviously are the Modern Renaissance and the Soft Glam palette. I feel like these two palettes were really great. I know that the Modern Renaissance was a hit and the Soft Glam was kind of like iffy for some people because it does have some duplicate shades. I, however, really love the Soft Glam palette. I feel like it's super neutral. Anybody can get a look out of it, so it is one of my absolute favorite palettes. However, nothing will ever beat the Modern Renaissance palette. I have literally beat this palette to death. I don't think there's any more beating that can happen. I'm going to use it until it's gone. Maybe I'll repurchase it since it is permanent, but I do really love both of these palettes. One palette that I was kind of in the middle of, not really sure about, still kind of playing with, is the Norvina palette. I'm kind of on the fence with this one, you guys, just because these aren't really colors I tend to go to a whole lot. I really like the warm tones. I still have the brush in here even, which this kind of does have those warm tones here on this side. I think that the purples are gorgeous. I just don't know how often I'll play with them. So I'm going to keep playing with this guy and I'm not quite sure. The shimmers are really beautiful. I'm not sure if they're like foils or shimmers or whatnot, what we're calling them, but they are very pretty. I'm just not sure, you know, there's some in here that I won't ever use, so I'm kind of on the fence with this palette. It's not my favorite, but it's not my least favorite. Now, these two palettes had a lot of controversy on the internet. We'll start with the Prism. The Prism palette is absolutely beautiful. I feel like the color scheme is really nice. It's very funky, it's very fresh, it's something we haven't seen before. When this came out, I was really excited to play with it, but you guys can see if I held this up close, I barely even tapped into the shades. I feel like this yellow is super beautiful. It's very vibrant, very neon, but I didn't really touch a lot of the shades. I like it because of that green in there, that orangey color, the really pretty tangerine, but I didn't touch it a whole lot. I would probably put this on my not favorite list, or like on a palette I didn't use as much, just because I didn't particularly like it doesn't mean it wasn't good. I feel like there was definitely inconsistencies with it between the other palettes that have come out for Anastasia. So I would say that this is definitely not my favorite for a lot of reasons, but mostly because of the inconsistencies and because I just don't use it. And then of course we have the Subculture palette. This was a huge fail for Anastasia, which makes me really sad because it is a beautiful palette. You have a lot of really great greens. You know, you have all of these over here. You have these yellows. I also like it because it has both of my names, ironically. So this palette has Roxy and Edge, and I just really liked it for that reason. I bought it for that reason. I had already seen reviews on it and I already knew that it kind of was a flop, but I had to try it for myself and I had to get it because of the names, if not for like a collector's item. This definitely was on my not a favorite list just because I couldn't get it to blend. I was amongst the average, you know, with this palette where I didn't really understand how to play with it. And that could be just me, and it's, you know, a really great palette, but it's something that I just couldn't get on board with. So definitely would be on my not a favorite list. You guys can see, like, I barely even touched the front. It's not even dirty. And again, barely tapped into those shades. Next, let's talk about the Master Palette by Mario. This came out right around the same time, I believe, as the Subculture palette. So everyone was really worried kind of about what it was going to be. But you guys can see that I dug into it quite a lot. I found a lot of need for this palette. It is beautiful. It's neutral. It has a lot of really great shades. I was really into warm tones at the time this palette came out. I still am, but I used a lot of Isabel and Violetta. I felt like those two shades were absolutely beautiful. Even though it doesn't have as much as the other palettes do as far as shades are concerned, I still found that the color story in this palette really caught my attention. It was a really, really good palette. I didn't use it as much as I would have liked, but this was definitely on my faves list for Anastasia Beverly Hills. I just thought that it was a really good concept. It was a really great idea, and I really appreciated that Mario created or collabed on this palette with Anastasia, and it was one of my favorites. Okay, so now I want to talk about some of Anastasia's single shades. I don't have a lot, but I do have some. I'm going to pull out some of my very, very favorite shades. I just have them in this Z palette right here. Ironically, I never purchased an Anastasia Beverly Hills single shade before I started shopping at TJ Maxx and Marshalls because they had a bunch of them at the time, and that's kind of where I got most of my Anastasia shadows from. So some of my absolute favorites, you guys are probably going to be able to tell. So this is the shade Caramel, and it's just a really pretty kind of deep brown, again in the warm tone family. One of my absolute favorite shades. It's just a really, really beautiful transition color. It works well in the crease. Another one of my favorites is this guy right here. This is Blazing from Anastasia. It's a really, really good shade. It's a really nice neutral red tone. It has a lot of really nice undertone to it. Definitely one of my best shades, or one of my most favorite shades. One of my favorite shimmers that I absolutely adore, I don't know if it's really, it's more like a satin, but this is the shade Gem, and this is one of Anastasia's satin shadows, and this was one of my very, very favorites when I was really into single shadows. I use more palettes now, but this is a really pretty shade. Some of my not so favorite single shadows of hers would have to be the shade of Violet. I used this once and it just was super chalky, really, really difficult to blend. So this is one of my not so favorite shades. I wasn't a huge fan. I do love purple in the fall or winter, but that one just was kind of a flop for me. This guy right here. So this is the shade Smoke, and this is one of Anastasia's deeper shades, one of her deeper single shades. I just wasn't a huge fan of this guy either. This is probably one of my least favorite shades from her single shadows. So I do again have quite a lot of single shadows just from TJ Maxx and Marshalls, and I just keep them in this little Z palette. I don't reach for this as much as I should, but those are just kind of some of the shades that are my favorite, and some shades that are like not so favorite. We will talk about her, I guess, like her palettes and things. So I did have the cream contour kit, and I believe I returned it. I bought it twice actually. I bought it once from Sephora when it first launched, and I returned it. So I got it for Christmas actually from my husband. I had wanted the powder one and they didn't have it, so my husband ended up buying me the cream one and didn't love it, returned it. And then a couple months ago I found it at TJ Maxx. I tried it out again. I was like, you know what? Let me give it another shot. Let me see if I love it, and ended up returning it. It wasn't one of my favorites. So the cream contour palette definitely is on my list of not so favorite. I'm not a huge fan of that. However, that being said, I do absolutely love the contour kit that is the powder formula. So this is the light to medium. So these are the ones that are the, like you take out the pan and then you can refill them, which I think is really cool. I really do love the consistency of this palette. I really love the blendability. I know that there was like a competition between this one and Kat Von D. I do like the Kat Von D palette. I think that it blends really nicely, but this one I found to reach more. You know, I reach more for this one than I do the Kat Von D. I really like the shade Vanilla Banana, and I like the shade Sand. So some of those, I think this is, let's see, Vanilla Banana, and then Sand is this guy right here. Oh, I believe. No, I think that's Havana, actually. I'm not sure how the shades are, but I used a lot of this shade, and this shade, and this shade were three of my favorites, so kind of in this circle here. I feel like the rest of them are definitely good for my skin tone. If they blend as good as the other ones do, I'm sure that they're a beautiful consistency. I just didn't use it as much as I used the other three, but this is definitely one of my faves. Okay, so let's talk about her contour kits. I know that there are a ton more. The Aurora, the Moonchild, the original, I think. So I do have the Aurora and I do have the Moonchild, but I gave them to my daughter because I wasn't a huge fan of them. Those are definitely not on my favorites. I'll put pictures of them right here in the corner so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I just didn't feel like I would ever wear them. They were beautiful in color and originality and creativity, but they just weren't my favorite because of the glitter, because of the specks on my face. I just wasn't a huge fan. So I ended up giving those to my daughter. That being said, she did just have a new one come out. It is the Dream palette. I have only used this palette once, maybe twice. It still has the little plastic thing on it. It is a beautiful, beautiful palette. I think that the shades are really pretty as far as how they blend and things. There are chunks of glitter in this one as well, but I am a beauty blogger, so I wanted to try it. I'm kind of on the fence with this one as well. Because I didn't like the Aurora and the Moonchild, I was like, man, it's kind of the same idea. However, the consistency is really different in these and the pigmentation is really different. So this one, again, I'm kind of on the fence about. I mean, the yellow is really, really a beautiful highlight. The pink is a really beautiful highlight. I have tried some of these. I mean, this mint green, they're really, really, really beautiful shades when you swatch them out. I mean, they are really stunning, but I just don't wear this kind of makeup enough to like it, and that's why it's kind of in the middle for me. You know, it's kind of one of those things that I want to play with more, but I'm not sure how I feel about it. This one I'm going to label as my half fave, I guess you could say. So now we have some of her newer glow kits. We'll start with the Nicole Guerrero collab. I don't know why, because this is full of glitter, but I absolutely, like I already got glitter in my hands. I absolutely love this palette. You guys can see I hit pan. It's very rare for me to hit pan on a palette or on a product, but this palette just got me, you guys. It was beautiful. Like there's this icy white shade, Forever Lit. Forever Young was a big one that I loved to wear. I mean, these shades were really, really pretty. I was gonna say prettiful. I wore this all the time, loved it, definitely on one of my faves. I don't really know why I stopped wearing it, but it is a really, really, really beautiful, beautiful palette. And I don't know if it still sells. I think it was limited edition. However, if you can still get your hands on it, I would definitely purchase this. The next two, or the last two glow kits I have, are the Sun Dipped and Sugar palettes. I really, really love these palettes as well. Definitely on my faves. This one is very, very dirty. The Sugar palette is definitely more of my skin tone. It has really large pans, which I love, and you can take these out. So I love that because they're refillable. I think one of the biggest concerns of mine is not being able to get my hands on something I really love, so I hate to hit pan on it. When something runs out and I used it all and it's not refillable or it's limited edition and I can't get my hands on it again, it makes me sad. So the fact that these are completely refillable is a really, really, really awesome thing. So this is the shade Starburst, and you can actually buy this on the Anastasia Beverly Hills website, which I think is so awesome. But these palettes, oh my gosh, you guys, were so stunning. So Starburst, let's see, Starburst is here, you have Marshmallow here, and then there's Gumdrop and Butterscotch. So those are the shades in the palette. They are absolutely beautiful. I really love this palette. I don't think that it packed as much of a punch as a Nicole Guerrero palette, but it was still very, very, very beautiful. Now I did buy the Sun Dipped palette just because I wanted to have both. Obviously I didn't use it as much because the shades are deeper. However, the Summer shade and the Moonstone shade were really, really pretty. And then you have Tourmaline and Bronzed. So those are the shades from this palette. Again, same idea, super stunning, absolutely beautiful. Definitely would, you know, consider using it again. I'm trying to kind of find a need for it. That's why both of these are on my faves list for Anastasia. I can't fault a product because it's too dark for my skin tone if it's still a good product. So that's kind of why I wanted to talk about the Sun Dipped palette still, because it is absolutely an amazing product. Both of the glow kits by her are some of my favorites, and we'll go ahead and talk about some of the newest products to the Anastasia family. First, let's talk about the powder bronzer. I have the shade Sable. For a long time, you guys, this was one of my favorite products. It is a really beautiful bronzer. It blends out very, very well. The shade is right up my alley as far as being like that terracotta red brown. I absolutely love those shades on my skin tone. I don't really know why I stopped using this, but it is definitely on my favorites list for her brand. It's a beautiful bronzer, and it is one of those bronzers that really kind of just melts into the skin. So if you're kind of debating between the contour kit and just a single bronzer, I mean, of course the contour kit is like more bang for your buck, but if you're just looking for a bronzer because you won't use everything in the contour kit, I highly recommend trying these guys. They're a really awesome product. And then of course you have the Amrezy collab. This is the Anastasia highlight with Amrezy. This was a beautiful, beautiful highlight, you guys. Definitely one of my all-time faves. It is just so stunning. It packs a definite punch. I feel like it can really fit anybody's skin tone. Definitely one of my favorite products from Anastasia. Probably on one of my top 5 lists for her brand. Definitely made my favorites and are really, really, really good products. I mean, if I had to buy like them separately versus a contour kit, I would definitely buy these two versus a contour kit. Keeping with the highlight theme here, I'm going to talk about her liquid glow. There's Bronze, Peach Fizz, and Oyster. I hadn't had these for a long, long, long time, and I kind of have a love-hate relationship with these. I feel like they're beautiful if you know how to use them. I'm not a huge fan of cream products. I don't really like how they look on my skin. Here is Oyster on this side, and then here is Peach Fizz. That's what they look like before you blend them in. And then once you blend them in, they are really, really beautiful cream highlights. I mean, they're very, very pigmented. They really do stand out. They're beautiful on the skin. So like I said, if you know how to use these products, they're really, really beautiful, and they don't spread your makeup apart. They set very well. They last a long time. I really did used to love them when I was into cream products a long, long time ago. Before I really got into makeup, I loved this particular product. And they are really beautiful. I mean, especially as they dry, they almost look wet, you know? So they're definitely good products. I'm kind of on the fence about these two. You know, I love them. They're beautiful, but I can't put them on my favorites because I don't know, I didn't feel connected to them. You know, we didn't have like a strong bond. So they're great products. They're absolutely amazing products, but they're just not on my favorites list. So let's go ahead and kind of stick with the cream products and talk about the stick foundations. Now again, I have a love-hate relationship with these guys as well. I have the shade Banana, which is a highlight shade, and then the shade Caramel, which is a contour shade. This is Banana right here. I really do love them as a contour stick and highlighter. I don't, however, like them as a foundation. I feel like they don't last very long. They're not full coverage alone. You definitely need something to help you with them to make them full coverage. Then this is the shade Caramel here. This one is a particular, I think this is a contour. Oh, so this one is a stick foundation. They have separate ones for contours, highlighters. They have ones just for stick foundations. So I believe that the banana shade says highlight on the bottom. Yeah, so this on the bottom says highlight, and then some of them say contour, some of them say foundation. I wore the shade Tan in just the foundation stick, and these are not my favorite. Definitely not on my favorites list. Now, I am not aware of another foundation that has come out by Anastasia. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys know of any other foundations that Anastasia has ever made. I'm really, really curious about that. These, however, are not on my favorites list for a lot of reasons. They just didn't have a whole lot of coverage. They didn't last a long time. The blendability was a little lackluster. I do like them, again, for contouring and highlighting. I think that they do really great functioning as a contour, but I just didn't love them as a foundation. The blush trios, I do have 3 different shades here. So we have Cocktail Party, Pink Passion, and Pool Party. Let me just show you guys Pool Party, and then we'll talk a little bit about the functionality for these. So they're trios, and they're actually really, really, really pretty shades. Every trio has 1 shimmer and 2 mattes, I believe, or 2 shimmers and 1 matte. I can't remember how it works. These, again, for me, are kind of in the middle. I feel like 2 out of the 3 shades, or 1 out of the 3 shades, work very, very, very well. I particularly like Cocktail Party because it has a lot of really vibrant shades. I'm not wowed by these, if you know, I guess that's kind of the best way to say it. So this one is Cocktail Party. This shade in the middle is stunning. So this, I think, actually is 3 mattes. Yeah, this is 3 mattes, but this shade right here, blended out, you guys, absolutely stunning. It is very, very beautiful. It's called Scorching. However, again, these blush trios are kind of in the middle for me. They're not my favorite, but they're not my least favorite either. So I had to incorporate them in this, obviously, because it's an Anastasia product, but I also wanted you guys to know, for the functionality of the product, I highly recommend picking one up. But they don't blend as well as they could. You do have to kind of work them up quite a lot or blend them out quite a lot, which sometimes isn't my favorite for blush because it starts to look a little bit clowny or clownish. They're still really, really good products. Lip products. So I have a couple different lip products of hers. I'm going to start first with my absolute least favorite product. Of all of Anastasia's products, and there's a lot. I don't have everything here, by the way. I don't have the entire line, so I'm not going to be able to talk about everything, but out of all of Anastasia's products, you guys, the entire brand, my absolute least favorite, my very, very worst product I don't love at all, are her liquid lipsticks. I know some people live by these lipsticks, you guys. Some people absolutely love them, and that's fine. I like the Kat Von D formula. A lot of people don't. I like the Dose of Colors formula. A lot of people don't. But the Anastasia liquid lipsticks are so drying and so awful. I can't ever wear them for more than 20 minutes, ever. I wanted to pull a couple of them out to talk to you guys about. I have a lot because I picked them up as I saw them at TJ Maxx and Marshalls. I have a lot. I continue to pick them up. Don't ask. 2 of the shades I just happened to pull out of my lipstick drawer are Spicy. Now, they're extremely pigmented. Don't get me wrong. They are very, very, very pigmented. And this is Madison. But I just can't wear them, you guys. I just can't do it. So these right here, this is Spicy and this is Madison. They are very, very, very pretty. I mean, obviously, they really, really are pretty. But I just can't wear them. They're definitely not on my favorites list. The lip glosses, on the other hand, not all of the lip glosses, but most of the lip glosses are some of my favorite lip glosses to wear. They're not sticky. They're not drying. They're not super like overwhelming with a scent. I have the shade Vintage, Parfait, and Sepia, and these are really, really, really beautiful shades. The shade Vintage, which is kind of like one of those pinky, springy shades that you want to wear during the springtime, is really, really pretty. What I like about Anastasia's glosses is that they're different formulations. So they have some that are glitter, some that are just kind of plain like this one, and then you have some that are like deeper that don't have a whole lot of, like actual gloss qualities, but more of like a liquid lipstick. So this one is in the shade Parfait, and this one is more what I'm talking about with like that glitter in it rather than just like a regular lip gloss. It has more of like a metallic finish. This one right here is Parfait, and it's really, really, really a beautiful color. It's probably one of my favorite lip gloss shades that I've ever found by Anastasia. And then this one is Sepia, and this is a really deep, I don't know, like a really, really pretty nude gloss. It's one of my favorites to wear in the fall. So that is what the shade looks like right there for Sepia. The other lip product I have are her matte lipsticks, but her matte lipsticks have some kind of formula, you guys. It is one of the best matte lipstick formulas I've ever worn. It is so comfortable. So this one is in the shade Rosewood. It's one of my favorite like red tone lipsticks, and it is really, really, really pretty. It has like a pinky red quality to it. It's just that guy right there, and it's one of my favorites to wear. And then I'll do one more. Let's do the Dusty Mauve shade, but it's a really beautiful like purpley mauve. Like that's exactly what it is, and it's really beautiful to wear in the fall. It's this guy right here at the end. So the matte lipsticks are phenomenal. I really love them. I would choose these over the liquid lipsticks any day, just because the formula is a ton better. The eyeliner that just came out recently, this is the Dark Side eyeliner. It is a twist up liner. I am out of mine, but I'm gonna try and swatch the little bit I have left. So it's very, very, very pigmented. It is waterproof. The only problem with this guy is that, 0.3 grams. So I found after investigating a little bit that this has less liner than most other liners of its kind, so gel liners, and it's $18 to $20. I bought two, used both of them up completely, and then stopped buying them after I realized that fact, just because I felt like I was wasting money rather than saving money. So I decided not to purchase the third one, but this is a very, very, very good liner. One of my favorite gel liners, one of my favorite waterproof liners. It is very, very, very good. Now, I cannot find the brush that I'm speaking of. I have some dupes for it, but her highlight brush, you guys, is phenomenal. If I can't find it somewhere in my boxes or in my brush collection, I will definitely be repurchasing it. It is an amazing highlighter brush. I've never tried any of her other brushes, so leave me a comment down below if you guys have. I'm really interested to see or kind of hear about how they perform. But the highlight brush, you guys, it's really, really good. I will put a picture of it right here, but I don't know where it is. It must have gotten lost in the shuffle, but it is an amazing brush. I know they sell it at Ulta. Okay, you guys, so that is it. That is everything on my favorites or not favorites of Anastasia Beverly Hills. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It will be becoming a series on my channel. Again, let me know in the comments down below what you guys want to see, what brand you're interested in hearing about, with my opinions about what's great, what's not so great, what are some of my favorites, what aren't some of my favorites. I don't want to say like best and worst because they're not bad products, they're just not my favorites. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate everything, and I appreciate all of your support. Remember to take care and take care of each other, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!